too. But let me give you this story here for folks who don't know what's going on, a little background on this one. This is a story, I think, from WLBT way back in 2000. Well, I say way back, 2005, which doesn't seem that long ago. A teen accused of killing his own family is behind bars, serving 2 consecutive sentences. More than 2 years after the double murders were committed, the victim's family said they can finally start to heal. 19 years old, James Williams III will spend 60 years in prison and is not eligible for parole. James Williams III is guilty of killing his father, James Williams Jr., and his stepmother, Cindy Williams, December 28, 2002. 53-year-old Williams Jr. was a postal worker. His wife, 47-year-old Catholic Charities worker, Cindy, were found fatally shot on January the 6th, 2003. Williams shot his dad, shot his stepmom inside their home on Winfield Street in South Jackson. Their bodies were found in an abandoned Chevy pickup in a wooded area of Brandon. Their murders were an attempt by Williams III to inherit his grandmother's estate. Jackie Lassiter, Cindy Williams' sister, said, "We got the verdict we hoped for. Our hearts go out to the James family because this is hard on them also." Cindy Williams' family said that they were finally feeling closure. And again, this story back in 2005. Zeno Mangum said Williams got what he deserved and he'll be punished for the rest of his life for it. Adam White, who was 15 years old at the time of the killing, is charged with accessory to murder, and I want to have some questions on that one also. I think he's in the studio now, Zeno Mangum. Zeno, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it, sir. Traffic is always a booker around this time of the morning in and around that area, so I'm glad you made it in. My first question was, as far as this Adam White, just to clear this out, what's the status of this guy? He was 15 years old at the time. Did he ever serve time at all?
No, he did not. He was actually a pretty integral part in James being locked up. Mm-hmm. He testified against James at the initial trial back in 2005.
There are so many questions on this one. First of all, I think one of the questions is going to be in a C-Spire text line if you want to comment on this one or if you want to ask a question, 601-879-4395. And will help me watch some of the questions on there, too, when they come through. But for the jury to say or the court to say that he was not going to have parole to now being parole, there must have been an appeal. And what was the appeal based on?
That we're not sure about that information yet. We're trying to find out what enabled this parole as well. We're being told that since we missed a hearing, mm-hmm. that opened the door for him to get out.
How many hearings have you gone through over the period of time since this the sentencing?
At least 10.
Really? Jeez. Tell me how this happened. When were you notified by the State Parole Board? And I guess you, by letter or phone call or email, how were you notified that he may be paroled?
My aunt, Brenda Rankin, received a letter this past Saturday stating that he had a tentative release date of May the 16th.
I have a note here. It says, my sister, and this is from her, my sister and her husband was murdered by a stepson. He got 2 life sentences in which he hasn't even served a full sentence yet. I received the letter Saturday, April the 15th, stating he was granted parole, will be released May the 16th. He shot his, I'm just reading this one, he shot his dad 9 times.
Correct.
And Cindy, once behind the eyes, threw their bodies into the back of a truck in a Rubbermaid container, and they were out in the elements for a week before their bodies were found. Not only did he shoot them, before that he was poisoned. He poisoned them with rat poison. That wasn't doing the job fast enough. You have heard all of this before, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
That was part of the testimony?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me a little bit about this case itself. And you were quite young, a lot younger at that particular time.
I was 19 at the time.
Yeah. You remember some of the details?
From what I recall, James became a person of interest. They brought him in for questioning. At that time, Adam White was also brought in for questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And when the two were separated, that's when Adam White told them where the bodies were at.
You guys have been, as far as the marriage itself, that was your stepbrother?
Correct.
How long have you guys been, how long were you in that relationship as far as a stepbrother?
Just a little over a year.
So in other words, it was a recent marriage.
Correct.
Did you have a good relationship with him?
I had a very limited relationship with him. He lived with my mom and stepdad, and I lived with my dad at the time. And I thought in dealing with him, I thought he was a little bit strange, but I never thought anything sinister about him until this happened.
So who's contacted you so far that may be able to help you out a little bit or give you some answers? What have you heard from the parole board, or what has your family heard from the parole board other than just the letter itself?
The parole board, we contacted them on Monday, and we've been told that all the members are out at a meeting this week. So I haven't actually been able to speak to anybody on the parole board yet. But what I've been told is that since we missed one hearing, this past hearing in April, I think it was, that opened the door for him to be released. Also, that supposedly he has completed some kind of in-prison rehabilitation ministry program, and that may be part of the reason why he's up for parole.
But I think there was an appeal process or something, or at least there was some. Wasn't there, and I read as much as I could on this thing, and there was a lot to this, but at one point, wasn't there some where his attorney said that it was an accident, that it was a misfire or something from a pistol? Explain that to the audience a little bit, what happened there, or at least what they were seeing.
There was an appeal, I think, in 2005, and they tried to say, his story's changed almost every time he's told it, but they tried to say that there was a misfire, and that my mom being shot was an accident, and his dad.
But nobody bought that, though.
Right. I mean, she was shot point blank in the face.
Did the other guy, Adam White, corroborate that, or what did he say about it?
From Adam's story, Adam got picked up after the murders took place, and James brought him into the crime scene at their home and told him, if you don't help me, you can be with them, or you can help me dispose of the bodies.
So what do you guys do now? What's next for you guys? And I've never heard this before, just because you missed the meeting. And I say when you missed the meeting, I guess nobody was there. And what was the reason for not being there? Just you felt like it wasn't needed, or you just didn't get the notification?
I don't remember getting the notification. And I have an aunt, one of my mother's other sisters, who's been very, very sick this year.
Yeah.
And we've been tied up trying to take care of her. She's been in and out of the hospital, and either the notification of the meeting slipped up on us, or it wasn't sent at all.
Yeah. Did you realize not being at the meeting would be maybe the same as saying that you do not object to any parole?
No, I've never been told that.
I've never heard that before, but that's another thing. Can you hang on for a second?
Sure.
All right, more coming up in a moment or two with Zeno Mangum, the son of the murder victim. And your thoughts on this one, C-Spire text line at 601-879-4395. Back with more coming up next. Let me get back to Zeno Mangum. He is the son of the murder victim. And Zeno, I wanted just to ask you, go back to this rehab thing we were talking about. Do you know anything about that program? It's in the Mississippi Department of Corrections?
I do not.
Because I would think if and I'm sure everything is correct on here, if he actually shot your dad 9 times, and then he shot the stepmother once behind the eyes, threw their bodies in the back of a truck in a Rubbermaid container, et cetera, et cetera. There are some things here that how do you rehab from that? And I understand it's 18 years ago, but that you're confident enough to let the person out into the general public with the wherewithal to get a job, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure that people have looked into that. Do you guys have an attorney that is handling this?
We don't.
Who's kind of championing this? Have you had anybody behind you as far as your elected officials or anybody else? Who have you gathered into to help you fight this fight?
Miss Janet Hughes has been very instrumental in helping me get this out to all the local news stations. Chris Kaufman, Brad White, and Price Wallace have also been very, very helpful in reaching out to the governor.
Would they notify you should this guy be released and where he's going to be released to? In other words, where he was going to be back in your community or where he would be?
From what I understand, he'll be released to his mother, which is in Rankin County, near Shiloh Park.
If you had a chance just to talk to the parole board, and you do now, I'm sure many of them are listening, what do you want to say to them?
We would like to reiterate that we did not agree with his release. It's unfortunate that we missed one hearing, but that in no way or shape takes away us wanting him to stay in jail. We're definitely against him being paroled, and it's our hope that we can get them to overturn their decision.
Did you have, and you said you had, 10 times that you guys actually made the meeting? Did you have any indication on the last couple of ones that there was a possibility of a parole?
No. In fact, last year my aunts attended. My father was sick with cancer last year during the meeting, and my aunts attended, and they were guaranteed that he would never get out.
Who was they? The parole board? A member of the parole board, or was that in letters, or did somebody just mention that to you?
Multiple members of the parole board during that hearing told them he would never get out.
What do you think has changed since then?
I wish I knew.
All predicated on that one meeting that you guys missed?
As much as I've been told, that is the main reason, and the rehabilitation program he went through.
Zeno Mangum, who is with us this morning, is there any other notification that will be given that you have been alerted to? We will notify you again on the final release or when he is released, or is that it, that you will not hear anything else from the parole board?
I don't know if I'll hear anything else or not. I haven't been told that we will get a notification when he is actually released.
Is there anything else you want to mention while we got you on here?
It's mine and my family's hope that this reaches the governor, and either he can make it overturn this decision, or the hearts of the parole board change and they overturn their own decision.
You know anybody else from this program that's been released who's committed 2 murders and served their time? Again, just to look at this, he was supposed to be in there for 60 years, minimum, with no parole. He served 18 years, and that is it. Final thoughts, sir? Anything else you want to say? Zeno?
I
mean, if you're going to say something, say it now. This is the time to do it.
I just want to reiterate that I hope this message gets out to Governor Reeves and hopefully he can do something about it, or the parole board has a change of heart and reverses their decision. We definitely do not want him getting out. We feel like he's a threat to us and society.
So if nothing happens in about a month from now, but this is the 19th of April, he will be out May the 16th?
That is the tentative date, yes, sir.
Tentative date, May the 16th. Zeno, we will be following that. We thank you for coming in. I know this is not easy on you and on the family. It's tough and probably something that you never thought would have happened. And I hope calmer heads, clearer heads will prevail, because there are some answers. Either this is one heck of a rehabilitation program, or there are some answers that the parole board needs to have to the people in this state, and a review of others if they have parole, to be honest with you. So,
and for any parole board members that may be listening, he has never reached out to me or anybody in my family and shown any sign of remorse or condolence. So if he had really been rehabilitated, why wouldn't he reach out to us?
Do you know of anybody he's communicated with? How about his other than, or has he, with his mother?
I'm not sure. I'm not in the communication with his side of the family.
Well, I may have missed this, but what was the reason for the murder? Do we have a motive?
The motive,
the money.
Money, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did she have that much of an estate?
His grandmother had passed away earlier in December, so part of her estate was going to be combined with my stepfather. And it was probably between the life insurance and all the cash value, and they had two homes. It was probably close to $1 million.
How long was there everything in the testimony? Anything about how long he had hatched up this idea and he had planned this?
There was nothing mentioned about how long it had taken.
Yeah.
My thought is that it probably started in December when his grandmother died, and he found out how much money she had.
Wow. Look, thank you for coming in. I know it's not easy, but at least a lot more people know about this story now, and we will be following that. I thank you for coming in, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Zeno Mangum, and that is the story, and we will be